What's up, everybody? Welcome back to That Dope Dad, the podcast where we highlight fathers who are showing up, standing tall, and doing this dad life on purpose. I'm your host, Michael, and today it's just us. No guests, no interview, just a real conversation I want to have with the dads who are locked in and trying to grow. Welcome back to That Dope Dad podcast. So last episode, we talked about the anxiety dads carry silently, the pressure, the weight, the constant mental overload. Today, we're going to flip the lens. We're not just talking about pressure anymore. We're talking about how to lead your family without losing yourself in the process. Because let's be real, fatherhood, it isn't just about surviving stress. It's about showing up intentionally every single day. If you've ever felt like life is controlling you, or that you're constantly on edge, trying to do it all, this episode is for you. And I want to be real. This isn't about perfection. This isn't about heroics. This is about practical, everyday leadership for dads who want to build strong families without burdening themselves down. And a lot of this is things I need to work on. I'm going to be honest with you. So first, let's talk about leadership. Most dads think leadership means being strong, the silent type, never showing weakness, never doubting yourself, never asking for help. That's false. Leadership at home isn't about being unshakable. It's about creating safety. It's about being consistent and giving direction to your family. They rely on you. Here's what I mean. I know a dad. Let's call him Michael. He used to think being a leader meant never admitting he was wrong. If his kids acted out, he reacted harshly. If his partner challenged him, he really shut down. It took him years to realize his leadership wasn't about never being wrong. It was about how he handled being wrong, setting the example for his kids. He started taking a pause, talking through conflicts, admitting mistakes, and modeling calm problem solving. Now his home has less tension. His kids are more willing to listen, and he feels more confident in his role as a dad. And that wasn't easy. Michael went through a lot of work to get there, and he's still working to get better in a lot of those places. So leadership starts with clarity in your values, not perfection in your actions. So ask yourself, what values do I want to teach my kids? How can I show up for my family instead of trying to control them? Leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about setting direction, modeling behavior, and responding intentionally. Modeling behavior. We don't want our kids to blow up, so we can't always blow up. Again, something I'm working on. Next, let's talk about habits and routines. Your life as a dad, it can be chaotic. Your brain is running in 100 directions. That's why intentional habits are critical. Morning and evening routines, they help me. Even 15 minutes of focus time in the morning can set your mindset for the entire day. I like to wake up an hour before my family does. Make my coffee, sit down in my chair, and I like to read my book. It gets my brain going, and it gets me set for the day. It's a way I get my brain flowing and warmed up. That me time to prepare myself and to be ready for my family and for the day. Sometimes I'll write down 3 priorities. I'll review the calendar. I'll breathe. I'll drink some water. I'll move my body just a little bit, maybe a little bit of stretching. Here are some micro practices during the day you can try. Some tips I got from other men, some things that I read. 5 minutes of mindfulness. Quick journaling about your wins or frustrations. Stretching, walking, push-ups to reset your energy. I'm going to say it, and it might hit a sweet spot for some of you dads that are out of shape. You need to prioritize your health, sleep, nutrition, hydration, These aren't optional. The dad bods, they're not cute. Your kids notice your energy. Your spouse notices your energy. And here's a story. I know a dad who would stay late at work, skipped meals. He came home tired, short with his kids, snappy with his spouse. Then he tried a simple change, and this was in a men's group I was in. He woke up 30 minutes earlier. He started to journal, and he started to stretch. He noticed his patience improved from what he told us. He was calmer, and he actually got more done. Pick one habit this week that supports your mental clarity or energy. Start small. Build it consistently. Little micro wins will stack up into gigantic wins eventually. So let's get into something everyday dads deal with. Conflict and stress. Arguments with your spouse. Tension with your kids. Emergencies. Work stress spilling over and bringing that home. The biggest mistakes dads make, I'm going to say it, reacting emotionally. I've done it, and honestly, at times, I still do it. So rule number 1 for me, pause before responding. Even 30 to 60 seconds can prevent a lot of mistakes. Another rule, communicate clearly. I'm not the best at communicating it. I'm working on it. So don't assume your family knows what you're thinking. Be direct. Be calm. Don't hold it in. Rule number 3, model resilience. Kids notice how you handle pressure. More than what you tell them, more than what you say. So set the example. Here's an example of all that. Imagine you're stressed about bills, your kids drops a toy, your spouse asks about schedules. Everything feels urgent. Instead of snapping or panicking, you pause. You take a breath. You prioritize and you respond calmly. Your kids see composure. Your spouse sees partnership and teamwork. Your mind, it stays clear. And like I said, these are all things that I'm constantly working on. Here's a practical exercise to try. Next time you feel tension rising, silently count to 10. It might sound silly. Ask yourself, what is my goal in this situation? What outcome do I actually want? It works most of the time, and I don't take my advice all the time. But when I do that, me and my partner, we have much better discussions about situations in life and parenting. Just try it. Something I have noticed with myself and other dads, many dads operate in hero mode. Huge effort once in a while, but inconsistent. Kids don't need heroics. They need presence. 10 to 15 focused minutes of attention daily, it beats 2 hours of distracted attention on the weekends. Read with them. Ask questions. Listen. Put the phone down. Be fully there. Small, consistent actions compound. That's how you build trust. That's how you build connection and influence over time. I always got stories, so here's another one. A dad I know used to spend 2 hours on weekends with his kids. He worked a lot, but they were bored, they were restless and distracted. I told him, shift everything to 15 minutes each night of focused attention. Bedtime chat, questions about their day, reading a book, coloring, building Legos, no phone. Within weeks, his kids were more open, affectionate, and responsive. Consistency beats intensity. Presence beats heroics. You will find a lot if you just ask your kids how their day was and what they learned or what they did. They love that so much. So let them share their day. How are we building legacy through identity? Let's talk legacy. Legacy just isn't about provision, giving. It's not about money or stuff. It's about identity, values, and influence. So ask yourself, what kind of man am I becoming while I raise these kids? Your kids and spouse watch. how you handle mistakes, how you manage stress, how you treat others. Again, 3 things that I'm working on. All 3 of those I have done horribly at times. So how about you? Be honest about it. Your actions today are lessons they are learning, not just words you say. Again, your actions today are lessons your kids are learning, not just words you say. You want another example? A dad focused on emotional regulation instead of just being tough. So when you focus on emotional regulation instead of trying to be tough, your kids notice calm during conflict, integrity in decisions, and empathy that shapes their own approach to life. They're watching, like I said. Legacy, what is it? Legacy is consistency. Legacy is presence. It's values and action. Your influence is far more powerful than your paycheck. So what's the blueprint? Lead intentionally, not just forcefully. Build routines and habits that sustain your energy and your focus. Handle conflict calmly and model resilience. Show up consistently with small actions every day and let them compound. Build legacy through identity, not just provision. Fatherhood, it isn't about perfection. It's about intentional presence, leadership, and consistency. Before we close this talk, if this episode hit home, if you could do 3 things or just one of these 3 things, share it with a dad who wants to lead better. Also, subscribe to Spotify or YouTube, any of the channels and platforms that Dope Dad is on. And engage, comment, DM me, tag a friend. Let's build a community of dads who are intentional, disciplined, and honest about fatherhood. Yeah. This is That Dope Dad podcast. Because being a dad isn't just a title. It's a responsibility. And around here, we do it dope.